When we last talked to Daniel, he asked us to fetch a map of the Grand Staircase. The Grand Staircase is a pathway that Daniel plans to lead the Sorrows down to evacuate Zion. While looking for the map, we stumbled upon the story of Randall Clark, a tragic story that I explored in yesterday's video. But now we need to get back on task and find this map. But to make matters worse, the Whitelegs have sent scouts to Zion and set up encampments in preparation for full-scale war. They've booby-trapped a bridge, and we got word that there are some Yaoguai patrolling one of the only escape routes. So before we retrieve the map, we need to make Zion safer for the Sorrows retreat. To tackle the advanced scouts, we go to the southwest corner of the map. It's here where we find 4 Whiteleg encampments just south of Ranger Substation Eagle. One of the quickest ways to get there is to fast travel to the Bend Bridge, but this bridge is a hotspot of Whiteleg activity. As we get close, Waking Cloud takes us aside.
Those tents down there, that is a Whiteleg war camp. Do you see the war totems they've erected around the tents? Whiteleg warriors pray to them for strength and savagery before battle. This is no raiding band.
Do you have any advice on how to deal with the situation?
You might rush them and take them by surprise. We would be badly outnumbered then, though, and these will be strong fighters. We might also use their superstition against them. Whiteleg warriors believe that to lose their totems on the eve of battle is a terrible omen.
So the totems are sacred to them somehow. Good to know.
Yes. If their war totems were to disappear, they would likely lose the will to fight.
All right then, let's get down there and take care of business.
I will follow your command, but I advise caution if it is possible.
We find the Whiteleg encampment at Bighorn Bluff. Now, despite having Waking Cloud in my party, which is supposed to decrease the Whiteleg perception by 3, and despite using a La Fantoma and the assassination suit from the Sierra Madre, these guys were able to detect me a long way off. But thankfully, they only detected me one at a time. I was able to pick most of them off as they rushed at me one by one. Now, I was trying to do the optional portion of this quest, which is to steal the totems instead of killing them. But look at this, I've got a Bighorner to the left and a Whiteleg walking right at me. I don't know how it's possible to steal this thing without them seeing me. I even waited until night in the hopes that they would sleep, but no. Heading west towards the other camp, I managed to go around the Whitelegs and get to the totem, but as soon as I snagged it, they became aggressive. So contrary to what Waking Cloud told us, they did not lose the will to fight just because I took the totems. So essentially I had to do both. I stole all the totems and killed all of the Whitelegs in this camp. But hey, more experience that way. Now, our next task is to make the nearby bridge safe. The Whitelegs have placed traps all over the road. As we get close to the road, Waking Cloud takes us aside.
This is the only sure path from the Narrows to Pine Creek. They will be cut to ribbons by these traps.
What should we do about it?
Disarm the traps if you can, or find the Whitelegs who placed them and drive them off. Our advanced scouts should be able to deal with them if they don't have to fight off raiders at the same time.
Well, these traps must have come from somewhere. I bet the Whitelegs who placed them are still around.
I would suspect you are right. Perhaps we should try to find them before they lay more traps.
Let's take care of it then.
As you say.
Now, there are plenty of hillsides near the road from which to snipe at Whitelegs, but I didn't see any around the road. I think they may not spawn until we get closer, because once I got to the ground level, they appeared in the hillsides where they weren't before. With the southern portion of the bridge clear, we can now start disarming traps. We find bear traps all over the wooden planks of this bridge. The final one is just north of the bridge, in the middle of the road, and once we disarm it, we complete the quest. However, the Whitelegs who placed these traps, the ones that Waking Cloud was talking about, are still nearby. If we want to kill them for the experience, we climb up the eastern hill. At the top of this hill, we find Whitelegs with SMGs waiting for us. Our next task is to get rid of some pesky Yaoguai that have moved into the region. To find the Yaoguai, we head to the East Fork Bridge. As soon as we cross the bridge, Waking Cloud takes us aside.
Yaoguai. Even our strongest hunters could not hope to kill so many. There must be a nest nearby.
What do you propose?
Fighting so many at once is a dangerous prospect, unless you are a truly mighty warrior. This many so close together suggests a nest nearby. If we find it and destroy it, we might have better luck.
How would you do that?
Did Daniel not give you some of the new Canaanites' fire clay? That could easily collapse a cave and trap the beasts inside. Look around and see if you can find a cave nearby. It may prove easier than slaying the beasts.
Big deal. I've killed worse.
I hope that is truth and not a boast. But I will respect your leadership.
Well, we'd better get to work then.
I stand with you.
Heading north along the river, we turn a corner to find the Yaoguai Cave. Now, when we last talked with Daniel, he gave us some C4 explosives. We can either clear the den of all the Yaoguai inside, or place the C4 explosives in key locations. As we enter the cave, we go down a tunnel to hit a T-junction. Turning right leads to a dead end with a sunlit window, so instead we turn around and go north. Here we find two paths. We can continue north or go west. Going north, the path splits. To the right is a dead end, and to the left we can walk all the way till we find a big stalagmite. This stalagmite blocks our path, so this is a dead end, but the Yaoguai are near. We can hear them breathing. Turning around and retracing our steps, we go down the western path that we passed previously. This brings us deeper into the cave, where we find the first spot to plant our C4. It's conveniently highlighted for us. Continuing further, we reach a sunken portion of the cave. We swim through to the other side, rise upwards where we find another split in the path. Turning left, we go uphill until we round a corner and find the next spot to plant our explosives. Continuing along leads us to another dead end. So instead we retrace our steps and go east down the path we passed previously. This brings us to the final spot to place our explosives. Now all we have to do is detonate the charges, but the Yaoguai are in the cave just up ahead. Why pass up this wonderful opportunity to get some experience, right?
I'll fight you if I must.
If we kill the Yaoguai, we can go ahead and loot their cave, but there's really nothing here. Which makes sense, of course, because we would have missed out on any loot in here. Retracing our steps, we can exit the cave, and once outside, we can pull out the detonator and pull the trigger. And with that, we complete River Monsters. If we go back inside the cave, we see that large boulders have now blocked our path. Our last task is to find a map to the Grand Staircase. This brings us to Morning Glory Cave. To find the cave, we go to the North Fork Bridge. Instead of going north towards the general store, we can travel west until we see a big wrecked plane in the hills. If we follow the path west up the hill, passing the wrecked plane on our left, we eventually find Morning Glory Cave in the rocks to the left. I explored Morning Glory Cave in detail in my last video on the Survivalist. But in short, we find the map to the Grand Staircase inside his Survivalist cache duffel bag, which we find lying next to his bedroll in his shack. After looting the holotape, we complete the quest Grand Staircase, and we can head back to Daniel to tell him that we're ready to evacuate the Sorrows. But when we arrive back at the Narrows, Joshua Graham approaches us in a very Monty Python-esque way.
By the rivers of Babylon there we sat down. Yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Do you know what it means?
Now, there are 3 ways to answer him, each of which has its own in-depth dialogue tree. We can be dismissive and say, no, I don't know what it means, and I don't really care.
Living in willful ignorance is an ugly thing, but God often speaks loudest in the wild places of his creation, like Zion. Zion is a place and a state of being that has been lost to us several times in the past. Each loss is a new fall of man, and after each fall, we weep in strange new lands and dream of Zion, dream of visiting vengeance upon those who took it from us. But this is the waking world in which we live. There is no need to cry, no need to dream. We can act now and stop the Whitelegs here.
Enough with the drama, Joshua Graham. I just want to get home.
I understand. The safest way for you to resolve this is to help me and the dead horses defeat the Whitelegs. Daniel wants to evacuate the Sorrows from the valley. I think this will be much more difficult for everyone, you included. You can rationalize if you'd like. A lucky coincidence of my faith in your pragmatism leading to different goals by the same means. But you'll have to help convince Daniel, because I can't do it alone. The good Lord knows I've tried.
Fair enough. But what do you want me to do about it?
Talk to Daniel about fighting the Whitelegs. He wants to evacuate the valley, believes it is best for the Sorrows physically and spiritually. He knows I disagree, but believes my desire to fight is the result of my history of violence. Perhaps if he heard an argument from you, he could be convinced. In any case, it's important enough to try.
Or we can say, I don't know what it means, but I'm guessing you're pretty mad about something.
The Whitelegs didn't just force my people out of New Canaan. They butchered everyone who wasn't fast enough to get away. The elderly, the ill, children, those who stopped to help the wounded. It made no difference to them. They can't be reasoned with. The Whitelegs. Daniel believes that if we leave, if the Sorrows leave, the Whitelegs will stop. He doesn't understand what this kind of tribe is like.
Well, I do understand what this kind of tribe is like. They're little more than raiders.
Then you must bear witness of this revelation to Daniel. The obviousness of it escapes him. We both desire a non-violent solution to this problem. Where we differ is that only one of us believes it is possible. Speak your heart to Daniel when the opportunity presents itself. There may yet be time to save Zion.
Well, what kind of tribe do you think the Whitelegs are?
God told Moses that the tribes of Cain would not be welcome in Zion. The Whitelegs are as close as I have seen, beyond hope, beyond redemption. But if the Sorrows die in a state of ignorance, their salvation may be delayed as well, passing from life in this world to a spiritual prison. We have a responsibility to protect this place and those who have come to dwell in it. If you feel the same way, speak with Daniel. There may yet be time to save Zion from those who are too ignorant to understand what they have come to destroy.
Or we can respond by telling him how we think he's interpreting the scripture he quoted at the very beginning. We can say, you don't want to leave Zion. You'd rather kill every last one of the Whitelegs.
Given those two choices, yes. In the best of all possible worlds, they would just leave us in peace. But they won't. I don't enjoy killing, but when done righteously, it's just a chore, like any other. Practiced hands make for short work, and the good Lord knows there's much to be done here.
You'll get no argument from me. These Whitelegs are human garbage.
They're still God's children. But if they turn against their brothers and sisters, won't listen to reason, if they pollute the Lord's temples on earth, like Zion, who are we to stand by and let them continue? Daniel does not yet see things the way we do. He is the John to our Matthew and Mark. When you have a moment, speak with him. There may still be time to save Zion from the Whitelegs, to keep God's children here, in this living temple.
But why are you talking to me about it?
Daniel and I don't agree on everything. but in our hearts, we both want what's best for the Sorrows and Dead Horses. You've seen what the Whitelegs do, and I think you know what has to be done. If Daniel hears it from someone other than me, well, Zion may not be lost to us after all.
Now we can agree with Daniel here, and we can say, yes, what has to be done is you have to get these tribes out of here.
The Sorrows need help. We brought the Whitelegs here, the new Canaanites. This is their home, Zion, God's gift to them. In abandoning it, we will gain nothing and will lose more than you realize. Please think about this and look in your heart. The light of the mind alone cannot burn away all darkness.
Or we can say, well, I need to think about it.
Of course, think on it and look in your heart.
Or we can agree with him and say, all right, I'll talk with Daniel about it. Maybe he can be persuaded.
Thank you. It will be for the best.
We can refer back to the biblical quote that he gave us at the beginning and say, hey, this conversation just got pretty dark. What was that bit about happy, dashing little ones against the rocks?
Happy are those who do the work of the Lord. Zion belongs to God and the people of God. It is a natural temple and monument to his glory. When our Lord entered the temple and found it polluted by money changers and beasts, did he ask them to leave? Did he cry? Did he simply walk away? No. He drove them out. It is one thing to forgive a slap across my cheek, but an insult to the Lord requires... No. It demands correction.
Look, Joshua, I don't know if you've figured this out or not yet, but I don't believe what you believe.
Then as a Gentile, you should find this to be even more beneficial. If the Sorrows stay in Zion, you will always have a link to New Canaan. If the Sorrows leave Zion, so too do the new Canaanites. What's more, you'll have more Whitelegs coming farther south. You may not be concerned over matters of faith, but this is a case where faith and practicality coincide. No one wants the Whitelegs here. We just need to convince Daniel that it's our responsibility to ensure that doesn't happen.
Or we can be skeptical and say, okay.
You're not so certain. Fair enough. We all have doubts. Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. But you can be a Thomas for now. Fight the Whitelegs enough, and you'll see the truth. I just hope that by the time you understand, there will still be time to convince Daniel that we have to fight for Zion, to save it, and the Sorrows.
Or we can say, fair enough, I guess.
I and the Dead Horses are prepared to do what must be done to protect Zion from the Whitelegs. And though Daniel won't accept it yet, there are many Sorrows who are also prepared. They may not be warriors, but this is their home. If you have a chance to speak with Daniel about this, ask him to consider defending Zion instead of abandoning it. He has good intentions, but I fear that if we evacuate the Sorrows from this place, it will be lost to them, and us, forever.
So, the fate of Zion is in our hands. We have to decide between agreeing with Daniel and evacuating the Sorrows from Zion Canyon, or agreeing with Joshua and taking the fight to the Whitelegs. Is fighting the Whitelegs really best for the Sorrows? Or are we just feeding Joshua Graham's bloodlust? Is evacuating the Sorrows really best for the tribe, or are we just giving Daniel an opportunity to rectify the mistakes he believes he made with New Canaan, which led to their destruction? That decision will play out in 2 videos. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to show you how this story ends if we choose to side with Daniel and evacuate the Sorrows. In the video after that, I'll show you how the story ends if we choose to side with Joshua Graham and take the fight to the Whitelegs. This story will culminate in one of 2 epic battles, so if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, be sure to subscribe and to tune in tomorrow morning. We are almost done with our series on Honest Hearts, with just a handful of videos left to go. Share with me your thoughts in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this series so far and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers gain access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with a brand new video. I appreciate it.